No, keep going. All right. I don't enjoy doing voiceovers. I feel very awkward and unnatural. So here we go. This thing was built from a guy's barn. The barn was built in 1860. And there it is. So anyway, they tore it down. The guy got a hold of me, wanted me to build it out of his beams from the barn. Oh, that sounds kind of cool. So anyway, there's the big pile of beams. Dug around, sorted through, got the nicest looking ones, milled those up, dried them in the kiln. We lost all the video of the mailing it up portion of that, so here we go. But anyway, had to just get them all to a uniform thickness. Wanted to keep a lot of the hand-hewn marks and the mortise and tenon joints and all of those kind of details. So we were real careful to try to do our best with all of that. Hold on, keep going. So the little trick I'm doing here, I'm not the first guy that came up with this, but if you just put the two boards on that you're going to be joining together, cut them at the same time on that slider. Even though my blade is off by like a half a degree, they'll both be off in opposite directions. So that way you keep them, you keep a flat tabletop when you do it that way. You can do the same thing with a joiner. But the oak pegs, we actually took those out during the process and dried those also. And then we just kind of stuck them back in before we glued it up. So that's pretty cool. There's Travis, part-timer. But now I feel like I have to... Oh, sorry, I meant to say Tyler. I always call him Travis. His name's Tyler. Yeah, my bad. But anyway, so whenever I'm doing a voiceover, I always feel this compulsion to fill every moment of silence with mindless chatter. So I'm trying to stop doing that, but then I just feel really weird if I quit. So I feel like this scene goes a little long, but I know I'm just gonna leave it in. So yeah, I'll just stop for a second until something interesting happens. There we are, clamping it up. Oh yeah, we're doing a desktop too, so that's what this is. A little L-shaped desk. A lot of little pockets in that. There's Aaron. There's my camera guy. This is just to get both the desktops to the same thickness and all that good stuff. Can you stop rattling that, whatever it is? Okay, so this is cool. So this Ebonizing solution is just metal dissolved in vinegar, and when you put it on something with a high tannin content, it turns it black. It gets real chalky and weird like that, and you have to rub that off. But it just makes for a really cool color because it keeps all of the natural color that's already there. And so, like with a black stain or anything like that, it tends to kind of overpower all the different little variations. Like the sapwood ends up being black just like the rest of it. But when you ebonize it, you can still see those distinctions between it. It's just a cool look. It goes way back. It's been around for, I don't know, a couple hundred years or more. I don't know. It's this real old finishing technique. Then there's a lot of bug holes and all that. So I rolled on this black epoxy to fill every little crack and bug hole, and it was pretty porous. It's like 160 years old, or I'd have to do the math. But anyway, so yeah, I just rolled that on to fill all those little cracks in. And if you try to just fill the cracks in, then you wind up getting little bits of it everywhere, and then it looks bad because it shows. So if you just cover the whole surface and then rub it dry, you get it in every little crack and pore, and then when you rub it dry, it just takes on a really cool look. So I kind of worked out the kinks in this process on this job, but I'll for sure use that again. Then for the epoxy portion of this, I think I did probably 4 seal coats on it. So I just put a little bit of clear on there. I built a little form around it, and then I would just let that sit on there for hours, and then I'd squeegee it off to the sides and into those pockets, because otherwise this porous, really old oak just wants to just keep bubbling forever. So the more seal coats you do, the better. You can see all the little imperfections and all the little bubbles and all of that. So the video went away. Oh, sorry, the screen timed out. But anyway, so then you just have to scuff it back up, wipe it dry, or wipe it clean, and then just repeat the same process. So if you recreate this with that kind of wood, you want to just let that really soak into that surface for hours and hours. A little slab top mover I figured out. It's my third try. Oh, here's my favorite shot coming up. See if I can get Aaron to make a sound effect to go with it. Awesome. So here I'm just cutting the sides off of it and then cutting it perfectly square. And then I just had a little piece of like 1/8 inch thick backer board on the underside of it. So I just milled that off. Now I'm just doing a flood coat over the top of it just to make it shiny. A little V-notch trowel I made on my CNC from some scrap plastic. I figured out the exact proper size of the V's. And then these will become the 2 pieces for the table base. So these spent quite a while in my kiln also. I'm sure the core is not quite 6%, but it got hot enough to kill any little beetles that might still be in there. I didn't want them to be so rough, so a couple passes over the joiner, then we squared them up. I think it's cool to think about the guy that hand-hewed that big old beam 160 years ago, that the marks that he put on there are still there, and now it's kind of a cool piece of furniture. So I just kind of roughed in the ballpark angle, and then I can use the little reference pegs on this thing here on the vertical spoil board to cut the top of that perfectly flat, perfect angle on there. I used a 1/2 inch end mill on this. I've got a big 3 inch, but it would just blow the top of it to pieces as far as that end grain. With the big 3 inch cutter, you'd just get a whole lot of blowout, so you want to use a smaller bit. And we're just ebonizing the base, kind of the same look as the top. That came out a little darker than I wanted, but the steel plate that I mounted it on, I had that powder coated black, so it all still worked. Putting in a couple of dominoes. So I'll put the customer's last name on there, and then the date on the left says 1860. That's the date the barn was built, and then 2024 for the date that I built the table and the desk. Then when you think about the fact that the logs had to have been probably nearly 100 years old, that puts the beginning of this table at about the signing of the Constitution, so that's pretty wild. It goes way back. If you look real close, the one on the left is backwards. As soon as I filmed that, I had to flip around. Whoops. Back it up and look, you can see the angle's wrong. The customer has a fantastic barn. So yeah, the barn got torn down. He built a new barn, and then this is his office in said barn. So when you think about the trees, most certainly or almost certainly grew in that location when they built the first barn. Then 160 years goes by, remake that, turn it into nice furniture, bring it back to the same spot. So the beginnings of that started off here an awfully long time ago, 200 and something, long time. There it is. Hope you like it. This was my one take voiceover. I apologize if it's difficult to listen to.